has occurred, it is highly contagious and lethal. Please, symptoms include but are not limited to seizures, convulsing, cold skin, sweating, anger, violent outbursts, extreme
What the fuck do you mean? What is wrong with you?
Woke up quick at about noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. I gotta get drunk before the day begins, before my mother starts bitching about my friends. About to go and damn near went blind. Young niggas at the pad throwing up gang signs. Ran in the house and grabbed my clip with the Mac 10 on the side of my hip. Bailed outside and pointed my weapon. Just as I thought, the fools kept stepping. Jumped in the foe, hit the juice on my ride. I got front and back and side to side. Then I
Fucking boomer with a Mosin.
Hey boys, welcome back to LARPerators Anonymous, where all your LARPing fantasies can come true from behind that big screen of yours. Today we got out and touched grass and ate ass. Let me slip into something a little more comfortable. Welcome back, you LARPaholics. I'm your host, Chris. This is LARPaholics Anonymous, the channel where you can come and disclose all of your LARPing fantasies, talk about all your gear that was a terrible financial decision that has kept you poor, living at your parents'. Maybe you dropped out of college because you needed that thermal. Get in the comments. Let me know your biggest LARPing sin. Maybe to date. Some of you guys have already thrown them in the comments. I love it. Rifles, night vision. Someone said, PEC 15. So a couple other comments. Keep it going. I want to hear what your second biggest LARPing sin was. What was a piece of gear you bought that you absolutely, positively did not need, but just in case? Because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's at least what I tell my wife. Anyway, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about the top 5 gear items you will most likely need in shit at the fan, SHTF, World War III, Civil War, parachutes falling from the sky, whatever you might call it in your fantasy. Only boomers talk about zombies in their fantasy. So we're not quite gonna go there, or maybe we are, I don't know. All right guys, scenario. So in this fantasy SHTF situation, this is a fantasy scenario that is unlikely. We're talking parachutes falling from the sky, North Korea is invading, China is invading, the big green weenie feds have gone to civil war with their own people. Just some kind of ridiculous, or maybe UN occupation, the blue helmets are marching around. Just the total male fantasy of running your own guerrilla squad and dominating everybody. I'm talking to you. You're here on this channel. You're LARPing. You know it. It's your fantasy. So that is the scenario we are talking about today. So I have some disclaimers based on that scenario. So the first disclaimer is, in the United States, most likely it's going to be a natural disaster. We will never actually see some type of scenario where we have boots on the ground that's, civil war or killing American citizens or we've been invaded. That said, all this stuff, it is your right as an American to own whatever you want. Nods, thermals, machine guns, suppressors, ATF, all that stuff. You should be able to own it. That's not what I'm talking about. Do you, homie? But a scenario here in the United States is going to be natural disaster. For me in California in particular, it'd be wildfires. Maybe you're from Texas, it's hurricanes, or I've seen you guys have had some pretty gnarly winter storms that have froze up all your pipes and the means of transportation and even basic having clean running water is gone. Maybe you're in Florida and it's hurricanes and that's your natural disaster. So that's the realistic scenario that we would all face. So keep that in mind when we're talking today. This is all just fantasy land. But in the reality of real preps, guys, the first thing, obviously, you all know this, food and water. Those are your 2 biggest preps, and in full transparency, I'm lacking on that bad. So I got 2 weeks of food and water storage for my entire family. So that's me and my wife, plus 3 young kids. One is an infant and 2 toddlers. And I have enough food and water for about 2 weeks. And that's my current sustainment. It needs to get better. But food and water, any medication that you may need, even if it's prescription, antibiotics, blood pressure medication, find a way to get your hands on that and store it. Have massive quantities of it, get that done. A generator. Instead of buying your next LPVO or your IR laser illuminator, buy a generator. You're gonna need that more than you will ever need night vision and a rifle. Again, not saying you shouldn't have it, but focus on the realities of an actual SHTF situation. Okay, Now that we got that out of the way, now we can fantasize together. Here we go. Prep number 1. All right, guys, so gear item number 1. Obviously, this is a gun channel. You guys all know I'm gonna focus on guns first. That's what we all love. So, starting off with a pistol, just a basic Glock 19. I mean, not basic, this is like my Gucci Glock. It's a Glock 19 Gen 3, Surefire X300. I got some extended controls. This is just a stock Glock trigger. And this is a Brownell slide with a Radian afterburner and a Trijicon RMR. I'll give you guys a close-up of this, and we can talk about this at a future date. But this has been a great gun. Glocks are super reliable, parts are everywhere and plentiful, and they just run. So get yourself a Glock, makes it easy. Maybe you can find extra parts and spare pieces off a body that you dump. So anyway, so good solid pistol. I do have some stippling work done, and what do you call this? An accelerator cut right here on the side. So you can really get my thumb there and get it nice and aggressive. And this was for Risen Gunworks, and he did a great job, so awesome. I have another video on this. This is my general purpose rifle, so I'm not gonna really go over it in detail, but I do have something new, if you guys have noticed. The last video with this, just a quick update, I was running a Vortex Viper PST 1 through 6. I did end up getting the Primary Arms PLXC. And it was actually between this and getting the Night Force NSX or the ATACR. I still had a couple months to go to save up to get that ATACR because they're just freaking expensive. And then there's actually 9-hole reviews. I watched their video comparing this to the ATACR, and this almost performed better in every single situation, and it's half the cost. So I got a super good deal on one of these off a tax swap. I paid like $1,000 for it, shipped, no tax. And then I do have it in this Reptilia mount, and this is their 170 mount. And dude, this optic, if you guys haven't looked through one or used one, fucking sick. But anyway, we'll get into that next video. But a good general purpose rifle, LPVO, mainly for target identification and for recce work, for observation. In my scenario where shit hits the fan and there's troops on the ground and you're trying to be stealthy and gather intel and ID targets, this would be awesome. Obviously, your IR laser illuminator, this is a PEC 15, but it is not real. Probably should have one probably in the next 6 weeks. I'm gonna get a real one. And it's a Surefire M300. This is the Pro, and this is a 14.5-inch gun. Geisley SSAE trigger and Voltor A5 system. Awesome gun. And then ammunition-wise, I have backstocked, M855 green tips, but I have started trying to get, 77 grain. It's IMI Razor, the 77 grain Sierra Match Kings. And that's what I'm running right now in here is those OTMs. And, for a man stopper, in the GWAT, supposedly those were dropping dudes left and right. So that's what I'm trying to stockpile now. It's just super expensive and hard to find. So I have 1,000 rounds at M855, and that's like my backstock ammo. But just these running PMags and 77 grain IWI. Third firearm. I know you guys are like, why do you have a duck shotgun? Some of you guys, it probably makes sense. But have you guys seen the prevalence of drones? I don't know, Grantham's video about Ukraine. I was watching Ukraine combat footage on Funker 530 the other day. And the type of warfare that is going on now, drones, like the man-made, DJI Mavic drones, they're just everywhere. So having a good shotgun to counteract some of those drones, now it's just come up in conversation multiple times through a few YouTube videos I've been watching. So a good shotgun with they could shoot 3-inch Magnum rounds, and I'm shooting just number 4, birdshot that I normally use for duck, and using that for an anti-drone type of weapon. So if you were at home or you're with your squad or your small unit and drones start coming overhead, I mean, how are you gonna take them out? With your 223, with your AR? No. So having a good shotgun on hand to take out some of those drones, I think now with the way warfare is changing, is key. All right, guys, item number 2, and this is probably pretty straightforward to all you guys as well, is comms. Having some type of way to communicate with people in your unit, your neighborhood, your family unit, and just having a way. Obviously, you don't want to be just chatting on the radio all day. I understand that those can be triangulated, and you can be found that way. But some type of good comm setup, and there's people that know way more about comms than I do, particularly Brass Facts. He's got some great videos. So does Hoplifile, or Hop. He has some good videos on comm setups and different things. But of course, everybody always loves a good, I call them China fangs, but a good old Baofeng. I got 3 of these guys. I got one over here as well. One here. I'm just using the Nogia small whip antennas. These work great. Jesus. Those work great. And then I do have so I did just recently buy a Kenwood TK3170, and same, they got the Nogia, a little bit thicker whip antenna, and I am running that on my plate carrier with a Disco 32 PTT. And actually my neighbor's a firefighter, and he's super into radios as well, so he actually picked them up and was like, hey bro, check what I got. And came over to his house and he just tossed it to me and says, hey, here you go. So just picked up this Kenwood. I said I'm running it on my plate carrier with a side cummerbund pocket here. So it wraps around my side nice and tight with a Disco 32 PTT. And that's running up to my helmet and on my CommTac 5s. We can go over that in a minute. So having some type of comm setup, especially if you're doing small unit tactics, ambushes, guerrilla warfare, hit and runs, obviously keep the transmissions to a minimum. And then, especially if it's a natural disaster scenario, which is not what we're discussing, but having some type of way to communicate with EMS. And I know if you don't have a license, you're not supposed to be on ham frequencies. I do have a GMRS license, so I'm a cool guy. And I did program mine for all of my local repeaters around me. There's about 6. So basically I can get all the way up to Tahoe and down as far as about Fairfield now on my repeaters. So I have a huge area. It's like over 150 miles of coverage in a circumference around Sacramento where I live. So that's awesome. GMRS, I think it was like $30 if I'm not mistaken, you supply, and I got mine back in a day and got my call sign. So if you don't have your GMRS license, I'm not saying you should pay the feds and get another license. Actually, you just do you. You make that decision. But having a way to communicate. So, all right. And saying if you guys are on a budget as well, I mean, these Baofengs, they work on, ham frequencies or the higher frequency levels and low frequency levels both, UHF and VHF. And these things are like $25 on Amazon. You can get it like with the extended battery and this antenna, I think for $40 each. So, and these are not obviously encrypted and they can be tracked and triangulated, but pick up a couple of these for your neighborhood or for your household and you can get, a pretty good line of sight distance with these. For cheap. So Amazon, order a couple of these. You can factory reset them if they come locked for any certain type of frequencies. Just factory reset it, we'll search a YouTube video and get you guys squared away. All right guys, gear item number 3 of importance. We talked about it earlier, having an anti-drone weapon. Get a drone yourself. These in terms of reconnaissance, you could say, are next to none. Or weaponizing them. I know anyone that's watching this channel has watched combat footage of Ukraine, again, and seen the capabilities of some of these drones, either dropping munitions or just from a recon standpoint. And I am running a DJI Mavic. This is the original Mavic Pro we purchased this, or I did, actually my company did, that I work with, in 2008. So this is my company's drone, but it is my drone. I keep it at my house and use it for whatever. But a DJI Mavic drone, and when you get these things, I mean, they are fairly loud. There's a loud buzzing. It almost sounds like a hornet's nest or a bee's nest. But once you get above about 300, 350 feet, it's pretty darn hard to hear. And when you're up at say 600 feet, which is the locked altitude for this drone, you can't hear it at all. You can't see it at all. And you still can zoom in on the screen. I think it's got a 5 times magnification, and you can still zoom in and see things in fine detail. And there are ways too to equip these with thermal clip-ons. I have no idea what that costs and how ridiculous that would be. And just, that'd be like cheating. But anyway, cheating in a good way, because if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But a DJI Mavic Pro, this one folds open at the arms here. These roll out. And this one does shoot in 1080p and 4K both. So I got in this nice little pack here. So I got the remote, got all my extra batteries and everything all set up. And think of in terms of scouting locations, enemy checkpoints, following, you know, certain routes that the enemy is using, good loot drop locations, scouting terrain before you get there, planning routes, and just visually watching your enemy's maneuvers, maybe their tactics or how they're training or their response times. I mean, all that would just be great intel. But again, of course, be careful. These can be detected as well, but just a great piece of gear to have. All right, gear item number 4. This is always a fun one. So your kit, your gear, what you're running, your battle belts, your helmets, plate carriers, etc. So this is a Velocity Systems Scarab LE, and I have this one kitted out. This is the Velocity Systems, just 3 mag placard. I have up front that comes on these placard clips right here, and I am just running standard USGI magazines, and like I was saying, there's those green tips. And these, I did actually have this custom fitted. I did get the plastic inserts from actually Haley Strategic, because this one used to just have lanyards that went over. I did remove those and get plastic inserts that come out, that come on Velcroed, and did put on double-sided Velcro tape, and then actually took them to a seamstress and had a seamstress stitch on the female part to this actual placard here. So now my magazines, if you can hear, slides right in, real nice and deep like. So retains all your magazines, really nice, really tight, and that's excellent. Everyone loves it tight. So then the cummerbund over here is Velocity Systems cummerbund. This is the elastic cummerbund. It does come with the standard cummerbund. Actually, I'll show you guys. So this is the standard cummerbund that it comes with, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It is actually really nice. There's some mesh in here, has some good breathing. There's still a little bit of MOLLE here, and this was a great cummerbund. I just wanted the one so I can carry extra mags, tourniquets, etc. So you can see the way I have this set up. If I'm wearing it, there is an extra mag on my side here. Got my magazines here. And then I do have a Warrior Assault Systems, kangaroo or a drop pouch down here. Got a couple of Kims on there. And I keep a mono binocular in here, or if I can say. I keep a mononocular in here, and I do also keep my rangefinder in here as well. So if you were to be wearing armor and out and about, you at least can identify ranges. And instead of having to look through your rifle or pull your rifle up, I can just pull out my mono, and I have it on a lanyard tied to some paracord in here, can pull it out and just spot, jam it back in there. And then I also have a Warrior Assault Systems, let's get this open. So this is my radio pouch, radio flapper, and this one's great. It adjusts completely, so I can actually adjust the bottom here, so I can have the radio sit deeper or higher, and then this retention strap here also adjusts up and down as well. So this thing was awesome. It was like 35 bucks from Warrior Assault System, so definitely grab one of these as well. And then when you throw your cummerbund back over, it pulls in real nice and tight to your side. Actually, I'll show you guys. The strap here, my magazine it's like a perfect spot. It tells me right actually where I need to pull it tight to. Cummerbund on, so I got a spare magazine here, so I'm running 3 on the chest, 1 on the side, 1 on my rifle, 1 on the belt. So a total of 6 magazines. And here's my radio right here, tucked in the side, nice and tight. And I got my PTT right here that hooks up to my Team Wendy helmet. So great setup. Oh, plates. I am running, but these are just like I said, the LA police gear, the level 3. They are Alumina and PE. And I have heard though, and I did read on some of the forums, that actually the entire edge here, there's about a 1/4 inch of foam. So this actual, these 10 by 12s, isn't actually accurate, because this whole edge that you see around here is actually foam. So if a bullet was to hit the edge here, you'd be fucked. So I am probably gonna pick up some new plates. I haven't decided on which plates yet, but probably some Hicoms. That just seems to be kind of the go-to, the standard. I was thinking Hescos for a while, but then after they lost their NIJ certification on some of their plates, I know that it was only one type of plate, but it just scared me. So I don't want to risk my life on when I can just spend a little more money and just get some better plates. But that is what I'm running now. And so one of the things I really do love about the Velocity Systems plate carrier is its shoulder strap system. So they are on this type of plastic D-ring here. And so the straps are adjustable and they're very thin. So you can see how much of my shoulder here is exposed. So shouldering this rifle, let's take low ready, come up, the entire rifle can get in the pocket of my shoulder very easily. It doesn't hit my plate carrier almost at all, and I really can like get on the rifle aggressively, and it's not impeded at all by the straps or the cut of the plates themselves, which is just awesome. All right, next, battle belt setup. So this is a Warrior Poet Society battle belt, and I think I bought this 4 years ago, and this is the one, so he's got a D-ring for a cobra buckle with a D-ring, and you can see the interior of the belt is Velcro, and it comes with this inner belt. And this was a collab. It was a Warrior Poet Society and Blue Alpha Gear. So this is the Blue Alpha Gear interior belt. So you put this through your belt loops. It's pretty common these days. Throw this over, and it all Velcros in place. So super rigid, stays in place, doesn't fall down, doesn't pull your pants down. It's awesome. Mag retention. So I do have all my mags inside of T-Rex Arms Ragnaroks, and these are on the Tech Lock system by Blade Tech, which these things are legit. So they clip on and clip off, and you can completely adjust the cant of your magazines. I believe you could actually run them, totally at 45 degrees, 90 degrees, a 45 degree cant front or backwards. And so you can totally adjust them to how you want. So I'm running just 2 pistol magazines and then 1 rifle magazine from the belt. And I did put, again, some double-sided adhesive Velcro tape on here. So when, even when I'm throwing the belt on, there's not any missed retention spots here, so it's still on. And this is actually just a super cheapy, this is one of the first piece of gear I ever bought probably 15 years ago, was a Condor dump pouch. So this is still a Condor dump pouch. I've had this for 15 years and it's still going strong. It's just a dump pouch. It rolls up, has a retention strap on here. It rolls all the way up, Velcro's closed, and it's actually been legit. I've had no problems with it whatsoever, and this is 15-year-old Condor gear. Like I said, I know I'm probably gonna get flamed for that, but it's been fine. And then I am running the Blue Alpha Gear, just their, their IFAK kit, their belt IFAK. All right, last but not least, I am running the Safariland 6390 ALS system, and this is just level 1 retention, and it's just the thumb press and release. This one is for the AX300, and actually I got it for a Glock 34, so I could run a 17 in there. I can run my 19 with a comp in there, or 34, all with red dot sights, and there is that level 1 of retention, and it does work with the Brownell slide. It did take a little bit of modification at first. There were some areas in there that were snagging, so I did have to use a file and kind of file down some part of the retention system, but now it works like a charm, and I've been running this for 3 or 4 years now, and it's obviously it's Safariland. It runs great. And then I do have that on their drop leg system, but I have it up at the highest point. It was just, I used to carry a large blowout kit on my right side on my plate carrier, and then once I switched to the elastic cummerbund, where I just had mag retention now, I just removed that blowout kit and just went with my IFAK on my belt. So I did have this down slightly so I can clear that as I was drawing my pistol, but it's not really needed anymore. I probably could just run this at belt level and it would be fine. But that's how I've trained now, and I'm just so used to it. It's just how I have to run it. All right, guys, my brain bucket. So last thing here is a Team Wendy bump helmet so I can mount my night vision to it. Quick backstory of why I went with a bump helmet and not a ballistic helmet, and why I would go back to a ballistic if I could. But so I originally had a helmet from Ballistic Armor Co. And I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but the helmets were super affordable. They were $550. They had some videos on their website showing the ballistic level of protection, and they had some really great memory foam pads. I have a really small head, so I was worried about having ear pro on there and having the helmet sit too low where my ear pro wouldn't actually cover my ears. So I'm like, great, there's some great padding in here. You can add extra. The helmet will sit, perfectly, and I can run my nods. So I bought that helmet first, and then I took my first night vision class, and it was a 12-hour class, and I ran, kept the helmet on the entire time. And obviously by the end of it, I was just, my neck and I have lower back issues. I have a torn disc, and my lower back and my neck were killing me. So it's kind of like, why would I need a ballistic helmet? But it's just to run night vision for, And now just even saying that loud sounds stupid. If you're wearing a helmet to run night vision, you have to run night vision. There might be someone shooting back at you, so you should probably have a ballistic helmet. So I just went and bought a Team Windy bump, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna get it set up, which I did. And this helmet's been great. I don't get the fatigue. I've taken a night vision class since. I did not have nearly the amount of fatigue. So if you're out shooting like hogs, shooting from a helicopter, running through the woods, going camping and running nods, do a bump helmet, and it will save your neck and your back a lot of strain. And I'll just go over what I have on this helmet. This is a Wilcox G24. It's not a knockoff. I just got a great deal on Tax Swap again. If you guys aren't on Tax Swap or on all the Facebook marketplaces like Buy, Sell, Trade, NVG, you fucking up, bruh. Get on there and you can find some great deals. I got this for 250 bucks and it is legit. And I was like, what? But it's a legit, and there's ways to tell with the logo. It is a legit Wilcox mount. And then I'm just running the Enforce weapon mounted light on the side here. And this is a Unity mount. And it's actually, if you guys can see, I'll do some B-roll here. But it actually goes in between your 3M mounts. And it's a Picatinny rail section, so you can mount this light to the top. And this is their IR light. So I have IR and just regular white light. And then it adjusts up and down, which is awesome. So let me drop these down. So you can see this, it adjusts all the way up, all the way down, so you can kind of adjust where the light is riding, and it's super lightweight. I know you guys, probably a lot of you have seen people running M300s or the Vampire or the M600 Vampire on mounts on their helmet. I'm sure that works too. This has worked great, and it's super lightweight, so I've had no reason to change it. And then moving back, I did also get these Comtac 5s, and I got these again for a super good deal on Tax Swap. Again, the guy posted them for $350, and I literally was on there. It had been live for like a minute, and messaged him, ended up getting them, and they're legit. Took them to a buddy of mine that was in the Navy, and he goes, yeah, those are legit Comtacs. So I got some legit Comtacs with the gel cups, and this is what I plug my Disco 32 in on my plate carrier. And these things have been legit. And for my little ass head, these do sit lower, so I can actually get the cup completely around my ear, or even before I was running the Howard Lee light, you know, just electronic hearing protection. And I would have to jam those up under my helmet and push the helmet down to get them to seat. And I still had a little bit of break in the gap. It wasn't totally sealed, so I'd have to double plug it. With these, so far, I have not had to double plug it, which has been great. Everyone loves a good double plug. And then on top, I have a used Core Survival IR strobe, just for, you know, under nods. And again, I got this used and it was $125. And it's worked great. I've taken it outside in the rain. It's been awesome. And then I did get a counterweight system, and this is just a cheap ass one off of Amazon. I think it was 25 bucks. And just by looking at the stitching and the actual multicam, I haven't looked at it under nods, and I should. I doubt that it has, you know, it's probably glows like a mofo under IR, because it just looks like the material used is cheap shit. And it's just got little lead weights in there that you can take out and remove for counterbalance. Do you want to change your life when it comes to wearing a helmet? Do you sweat all the time and have hot spots? Do you want to say, fuck me, blow my brains out every time you put your helmet on for more than like 30 minutes? I have a solution for you. These are the TNVC 4D pads. Oh my God. If you guys haven't worn these or put these in your helmets or don't know anything about them, they are the most comfortable, sweat wickening, memory foam. And for someone like me, again, that has a small head, these things are super thick and I can push it down on my head and then tighten my retention system. And this thing is so comfortable. There's no hot spots at all. And I can wear this for literally hours on end and not run into any issues. They are absolutely phenomenal. And they were like 80 bucks, I think, 65 bucks. So if you guys are having issues with padding in your helmet or finding hot spots, for sure go to TNVC right now and look at their 4D pads. All right, guys, last gear item. Again, being a fucking LARPing channel. What is a LARPing channel without nods or thermal? So, extremely important, in my opinion, if you're running around thinking you're gonna fight people parachuting in from the sky. And I'm still poor, I just have a PVS 14. But just starting out with something basic, because having the capability of being able to traverse terrain or move in the dark and identify targets and actually fight in the dark, especially if whoever you're fighting against doesn't have night vision. Oh my God, the vast fire superiority that you have on that unit or those people or whoever in Minecraft you might be fighting is just next level. So This was my first kind of introductory into night vision, so I just went with a high-end PVS 14. This is an Elbit tube, but it had like a 2540 FOM, and it had a, you know, the EBI and the halo. Both were super low, and it's been just an awesome tube. Of course, now I got into the world of night vision, and now I had the single tube, and now I want duals. I did get to try out some duals, some B&VD 1431s at a night vision class I went to, and got to look through them, and it does make a world of difference. I was like, oh my God. But that's not to say that you can't use these well. I don't have a big backyard by any means, but I'm on a 1/4 acre of a lot, and from one fence to another, it's 25 yards. So every once in a while I get in the backyard in full gear and I just practice low and high ready on it's a reflective sticky that's about the size of a tennis ball on the other fence, and just coming out of shoulder, low ready and high ready, with my IR laser getting points at the target and doing mag changes both. Just changing mags, getting out, dry firing at the target under nods. And when I took actually my first night vision class, I was telling you guys about earlier with my ballistic helmet, and I was running just this single tube PVS 14. We had a shooting competition at the end of the class. I was the only person there running a single tube. Everyone else was running duals, and I actually won the shooting competition. And it was just two rounds on steel at 25 yards, attack reload, and 2 more rounds on steel at 25 yards. And there was, I think, 13 or 14 people in the class. And I did win a Surefire M600 Pro Vampire from US Night Vision. So thank you guys, appreciate that. And beat everyone in the class with my single tube when they're all running dualies and all this super high speed gear. So the only reason I say that is I'm just trying to tell you, if you actually use your gear and train in it, like, you can perform in it. So starting off with something small like a PVS 14 like me, I am gonna buy probably some AR NVGs pretty soon, maybe the next month or two, just depending on my financial situation at the time. But gonna buy some duals, and then the next thing on my list too, of course, it's forever changing, is thermal. Haven't gotten into the thermal world yet at all. I obviously have seen, you know, Holosun's, you know, weapon mounted red dot and thermal. That looks super intriguing. Holosun's got a lot of good shit coming out this year. But that looks super intriguing, but I want more, either was gonna get dual tubes or run a thermal on one side, a clip-on on one eye, and you know, PVS 14 on my other eye. So I've been reading forums, Reddit, talking to people, going back and forth, trying to figure out what I should do, if I should just buy that thermal and you know, run a bridge, or just have like a dedicated thermal or a clip-on over dual tubes. So if you guys have any suggestions, get in the comments, let me know. I've never run either, so I need some help, so let me know. But invest in good gear, so get your night vision, get your thermals, and think of all the advantages that will make in your life. All right, guys, thank you for watching today. Top 5 gear items for shit at the fan. We have 515 subs now here at LARPerators Anonymous, which is just crazy. That honestly blows my mind. The last video we had like 280 subs. So thank you so much, guys. It seriously is like a dream come true that I just get to sit here in front of a camera and nerd out about guns and gear. It is one of my, it's literally my personality, actually. Anything is my personality when it comes to guns and gear. So honestly, guys, thank you so much for all the kind comments and words, talking about the intros and other ideas and your gear items and your LARPing sins. It's just been great, guys. So thank you again so much. And again, as always, stay ready, stay safe, stay strapped. Keep yourself, your families, and your community safe. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.